Not sure if you were trading today, guys, but I have 4 words for you. Meme stocks are back. My name is Hamilton. I'm here with the Trading Initiative. We'll talk about that at the end, but let's talk about the market wrapping up May 13th, 2024. We're going to start with the broader market first, and then we'll finish with meme stocks, what I think about Gamestop and AMC. First things first, all 3 major indexes were up off of the open. They were gapping up. Everything looked really good. The dollar was down. Bonds were up. Everything really looked great, but for whatever reason over the last week, there's just been no volume on the indexes, and they just faded intraday. Wasn't necessarily the worst day in the world, but it wasn't necessarily bullish either. As a matter of fact, if we look at the index performance on the day, all 3 major indexes, SPY, the Qs, and IWM, actually finished green on the day. Once again, not saying that it was incredibly bullish. There was no volume. We saw lots of fades intraday, but if we're keeping score here, indexes are still hitting higher highs. So we got that going for us. Every Monday morning inside of TTI, we look at short-term, intermediate term, and long-term trends. We want to set the tone for the week, right? It keeps us objective. It keeps our heads out of the clouds, focused on price. And what we saw today for the first time since the beginning of the April drawdown, somewhere back here, is that short-term trends have flipped bullish. So when the April drawdown was occurring, we had a little 5.5% drawdown. Short-term and intermediate-term trends across the board, SPY, the Qs, and IWM, all got crushed, and they flipped to bearish. Long-term trends never were threatened, right? They're long-term for a reason. We want to continue to keep our head on straight. Primary trends are still up. There just wasn't a big enough drawdown to threaten those long-term trends. But what we're seeing for the first time this week since the beginning of the drawdown is short-term trends across the board, and SPY, QQQ, and IWM are all back up and bulled up. And intermediate-term trends are now starting to follow. It's probably going to take another week to flip full bull, but we are now fully bullish across the board again, at least in terms of price action and trend. We take it seriously inside of TTI. I know we have the CPI report coming out on Wednesday, but we're not going to be focused on what the CPI report may do. We're going to be focused on what the market is doing. And as of right now, our short and intermediate term trends are flipping back to the upside. So we want to be long through the indexes, guys. I don't know if the S&P 500 is going to be at all-time highs this week. I don't know if it's going to be next week. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow. I do think that the S&P 500 is going to be the first index to hit all-time highs, though. If you look back at SPY right now, we're about 0.5% off all-time highs. The Qs are about 1%, and then obviously IWM. We're just looking for a higher high up here. It's probably going to take a couple sessions, even on full strength here in IWM, to get up and over into new highs. We're really looking at the S&P 500. And I don't think that it's going to take too long. Like I said, I don't care if it takes a day, a week, 2 weeks. I do think that the S&P 500 is going to be up at all-time highs relatively soon. All of the positions that we have inside of TTI that we've been putting on over the last 13 days or so are positioned out Q3 and Q4 of 2024, and some of them are actually in Q1 of 2025, which I'm actually going to show you one of them in a second here. So as of right now, really nothing happened. It was kind of a boring day outside of the meme stocks. Let's look at the dollar really quick. Once again, all eyes are on the dollar as always, but the CPI report comes out on Wednesday, right? We're focused on what the dollar is going to do, not necessarily today or tomorrow, but how is it going to respond on Wednesday near the CPI report as the data comes out? What we're expecting is that if the equity market wants to continue to rally, the dollar is going to continue to fall down towards that 200-day moving average. And we think that if the dollar is down here, at that 200-day moving average, we're probably going to be at all-time highs, at least in the S&P 500. We had a pretty good head start today. We saw, once again, the markets opened up, and the dollar was actually breaking to the downside, but intraday, the dollar started to get bid, and the market started to fade. TLT also had an okay day. Not going to call this the most bullish day in the world, but as long as bonds aren't going down, the equity market tends to respond well. I will say this is still a primary downtrend, an intermediate downtrend, and until we get up towards that 92 area and up and over the 200-day moving average, it's still a short-term downtrend, guys. It's nice to see a counter trend move that's allowed the equity markets to rally, but until we get above 92 and above this 200-day moving average, which, by the way, it's done multiple times and failed, so we're not even out of the woodwork then, I'm not going to sit here and think that we're going to the moon in stocks, at least not yet. We're positioned for all-time highs because that's what trends are telling us is going to happen, but we have to see a push through in bonds. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. So far, it's been an accommodative market over the last 2 to 3 weeks. Bonds stopped going down. Equities are starting to go up. The dollar's starting to come down. So we would expect bonds to start catching a bid, or at the very minimum, not continue to go down, which I don't know what's going to happen in bond land. Let's talk really quick about, I think, the focus point of this week in terms of types of stocks that you guys should be looking at buying. We've already been buying this stuff. If you're on the newsletter, you got this email at the end of last week. Emerging markets are breaking out, guys. They continue to break out today. That's all I'm going to say. Go through and find your favorite international related stocks. It can be Chinese. It can be outside of China. These things should be on your focus group. This is a 2-year high breakout in emerging markets, and we are long a Chinese name. As a matter of fact, we're long JD, which I'm going to show you in a second here. We bought it off of the 29.5 breakout here. This is a nice little hook and scoop pattern that we have. We like this up towards this $45 area, but our first price target was the 35 area. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect JD to move as fast as it did. We went out and grabbed some Januaries of 2025. We really want to get long this name for an extended move. If emerging markets are breaking out of a 2-year stage 1 base, we expect this to be a potential secular breakout, guys. This is probably going to last quarters, maybe years. I have no idea. This is QEB, your Chinese internet ETF. You can see that we bottomed back here in January of 2024, and it's just been on an absolute tear since then. We've talked about the Chinese play for like a week and a half now. We held off on owning Chinese stocks for like 2.5 years, which was the right play. But we got into JD. That's the first Chinese-related name that we got into, and I'm actually going to show you what the results are right now. Let's flip over to Discord really quick. You can see some of the stuff. It wasn't a particularly active day for us today. We just took profits at market open because we got the big gap ups, but you can see here, this is all Reddit. Yeah, we played the Reddit IPO base breakout, by the way. Same exact setup as ARM. So go ahead and do your homework on there if you like that type of stuff. But you see the JD play. This is the one that I'm in here, the January 2025s. We were able to flip them for over 100% this morning. So we now have a free play in JD going out to January of 2025. This is like a dream scenario for us because if the Chinese play continues to go, we now have a free lotto ticket that we get to hold for the next 7 to 8 months with no risk against our account capital. That's exactly what we want. You see JD here. He has an August. Brian has August here up 156%, but I really like those Januaries. That's what I'm holding right now with decent size on those things, and they're working right now. So once again, if you're looking for where to put capital to work, emerging markets are breaking out into a 2-year high. You could do worse, guys, right? This is a really good opportunity for, especially for those of you that are looking to hold positions for a little bit longer. I know I said we'd talk about meme stocks. Let's wrap it up here. Listen, there's a lot of BS going around right now that Gamestop and AMC are running. That means there's going to be a top in the market. We're about to break back down because last time Gamestop and AMC squeezed, that marked a local top. I have no idea, guys. I'll tell you, we're in a completely different part of the market cycle than the last time Gamestop and AMC squeezed. What I think this is it's giving you an opportunity to play small caps for the first time in a long time. For those of you that day trade small caps, for those of you that are a little bit riskier and like to swing trade small caps, I'm not telling you to go out and buy the GME play. I'm not telling you to go out and buy the AMC play, but I think this is indicative of a broader movement. I think we're going to continue to see a push in smalls and mid caps. We're already seeing it on an ETF level. MDY here up and over the previous all-time high at 534. I think this is here to stay for at least a couple weeks. I don't think it's only going to be concentrated to GameStop and AMC. I think it's going to be like meme coin roulette. A lot of small caps are going to be running. This is where we're at in the market cycle right now. It's not indicative necessarily of a local top. But this is, if you're opportunistic and like a little bit more risk, I do think there's an opportunity here for some of you guys to make a couple bucks, particularly in this part of the market. And we did. As a matter of fact, we were talking about potentially taking some of the AMC play, and there we go. We got a little bit of that AMC in there as well. So, guys, my name is Hamilton. I'm here with the Trading Initiative. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. Let me know. Do you think the AMC and GME squeezes are going to mark a local top? Do you think the CPI print on Wednesday is going to cause the market to fall back down? It absolutely could. Trends are up, but you never know in the market. That's what makes this fun. I'll catch you in the next video.